All right, so it's been a long time since I played any demos, right? I was supposed to play some demos for the KZ brand. We all know what happened there, or maybe you don't. I basically, halfway through my introduction, like this, I decided in my edit, I am not going to show any demos of that company. And so it's been several weeks since anybody's heard any demos from me. So here we are. We're talking today about the CCA, CRA, the Opal OH2 from Ikko, the Starsea, the Kotori Audio Dauntless, the i3 Pro, and the Ikko Obsidian OH10. I'm going to say right off the bat my basic conclusion. Like, too long didn't read. Here's what I think. I still think that the OH10 Obsidian is the best of everything I'm listening to here, at least in terms of my personal taste. Of course, everything is personal taste. Wow, I feel so much more relaxed since the last time I talked about something, which was KZ. Uh, but what I think so far from that track alone, and it's different in the demo, especially in the sub bass region, at least on my MacBook Pro speakers. But listening to it with my own ears, I must say, I don't know what it's going to play back for you at home. It could be everyone's experience because of the demo. I don't know if it's my recording, but I got a very subdued sub bass, like very little on the CCA CRA, and this could be true for all of them. But I will tell you that in real life, the CCA CRA has a ton of low end in the sub bass region, or what sounds to me like the sub bass. I'm not sure really, but I think it's sub bass. And somebody's going to pull up a graph and be like, yes, it's this bass or mid bass or upper bass, whatever. It has a lot of low end, okay? But it's kind of bloated to me. It's kind of comical in a way. It's not... I can see how it's very satisfying to have so much of it, and it's not like the worst, muddiest I've heard, but it's not very clear down there, the low end. It's not very even-handed with how it gives you the bass. It's just a lot of it, and it's at times too much for me. And the upper end, on that track, it kind of sounds like the vocals are really clear on the CRA compared to the Opal OH2. But the OH2 to me just, especially when you hear it in real life back and forth, the OH2 just seems to be a little bit more, for lack of a better word, realistic. It just seems a little more balanced the way it kind of ought to be. Don't get me wrong, the CRA can be quite fun for what it's trying to do on the low end. It's just pumping it up so much, and on the upper end is like super clear at times, but you can kind of hear the cheapness of it. I mean, it's only $15, so maybe it shouldn't come of a surprise, but you really, and I know people love the CRA. I don't want to knock people's joy of it. If you find joy in something, then you're finding joy of something. Nobody can take that away from you. But I gotta say, after comparing it to more expensive things out there, I at least seem to hear a difference in fidelity, honestly. Like, the way that it's creating the sound just seems to be a little rougher around the edges on the upper end, and that low end isn't exactly articulate. It's just kind of meh for me. I actually would rate it kind of poorly in my own ears, the CRA. But that's only because it's all relative. It depends on what experiences you're coming from. And I'm coming from stuff that's really well polished, honestly. So, if you're going to play with fire like the CRA tries to do, with a lot of bass and a great upper end, maybe almost V-shaped sounding. I don't know if that's the right description. You got to do it well. If you don't do it cleanly, it can come off as cheap sounding, and it kind of does for me. That's kind of does. The OH2 is so far my most balanced favorite of the lot. The Starsea just is kind of like, it's really fun, but it's in the way that the CRA tries to be, but instead of being way down in the low end, the Starsea seems to be, or maybe it is down low end. I don't know how exactly the tuning is specifically different on the graphs, but all I can say is that my general feeling of the Starsea is that I come away from it feeling like something's muffled. I feel like somebody's like put their hands around me, and like I'm not hearing things as open as they should be. if that makes sense. It just sounds muffled to me. That's like my one core trait that I pull from it that I can't escape. It's got a heft to it. It's got that heft that people want, that they call fun. But I think it's overplaying it a little bit for my personal taste. I have a bright bias, so take everything I say with a grain of salt here. You have your own ears with a demo. Make of it what you will, okay? The Katori Audio Dauntless is the only other one played on this track so far, and the Dauntless is just, it's thin. And I'm a bright leaning person. Like, I like stuff that's bright, but the problem with the Dauntless is that you can't just have bright. You have to have impact in the notes in the midsection and the low end, and the Dauntless just doesn't give me enough impact to balance it out just enough. Like, you can't, otherwise it just sounds very thin. You have to have some balance on the low end to counter that brightness a little bit. Maybe that's why people like the V shape, but let's keep listening. The next track we're going to listen to is the, jazz. And we're going to just now include the i3 Pro. We have a longer track now to really experience more of the samples. Sorry I didn't include everything on the first one, but we're going to bring in the i3 Pro. We're going to bring in the Obsidian OH2, and we're going to see how things stack when we have all of them compared now. How do they stack against my favorite, the OH2? Let's go. Okay. You could say the same thing. The more I do these, the more I listen to all these pieces of equipment, the more I listen to the same track list like this over and over again, the less and less I'm seeing anything really worth mentioning in addition on each new track. Because, that I'm not saying this as a cop-out or any sign of laziness. I listen to every one of these on the entire playlist. I took that due diligence to really try to listen for differences. But, the Starsea sounds muffled to me no matter what track I go to. I keep getting that. It's like having a filter on things. You can say that something has certain punctuated things about the drums, for example, and you can listen back to the demo on your own, and you can listen quite generally accurately on these demos for how much drums appears over the rest of the instruments or less on one track on one IEM versus another. You can do that. But if I'm going to say that to you, like, oh, the drums are coming up, well, they're coming up with a big filter still on top of it that says I'm muffled, and that's what I get with the Starsea. I'm not saying it. I'm not trying to be derogatory. I'm not trying to say it's like a C or D rated thing. I still find myself enjoying it, despite that muffled description. But I'm very down to earth with you guys. I'm very upfront, and the main thing I'm getting from it is muffled. I don't know. I don't want to be more specific because I'm getting it on each track, and I'm sorry. I mean, to everybody who loves the Starsea out there, I know a lot of people have been hyping about it and wanted me to give my 2 cents about it, but that's my 2 cents, and it's the same on every track. Dauntless is, again, it's the same kind of picture. The Dauntless is sounding thin to me. It doesn't have enough impact in certain instruments or certain places like you hear on other gear when you compare back and forth. The i3 Pro, which is the newcomer on this track, the i3 Pro sounds like it has a little bit more of a nice tuning for me, a little more of a balance where it's not just that low warmth. The i3 Pro is similarly warm though too, like the Starsea. It's kind of like I can organize things into certain baskets of warm and bright. The i3 Pro from Tri Audio is similarly warm to me overall as the Starsea. 2 products from the same brand are both quite warm compared to competitors. There might be a house sound going on here. The Opal OH2 from Ikko, I love Ikko's OH10, and I'm seeming to like the OH2 from the same brand more than the Tri brand. I think I'm really into Ikko in general. Like, they're a strong recommendation at different price points and for different tuning profiles. I don't like it as much as the OH10. I think the OH10 still has more of an impact and more of this, like, while still maintaining this clear image, perceived clear image. It's probably just because it's probably just V-shaped, honestly. It's probably all you need to do to achieve that. Or maybe it's the materials and the drivers, but something is done well with great intentionality in the OH10 here. It just sounds like it's fuller. It sounds like things have more well-roundedness while still being clear. That's how I feel. And the CCA CRA sounds, again, like it could be a very clear winner, no pun intended, but like it actually sounds like it opens up compared to the warmer stuff like the Starsea and the i3 Pro. But the CRA has this lack of impact and well-roundedness that you feel like you're supposed to authentically get from those instruments. That's where the Opal OH2 and the Obsidian OH10 climb above the rest in this picture for my taste personally, for what I'm getting so far. Well, not just so far, for all the tracks in the future too. But you know what? Let's just keep letting you guys listen to the demos. See if you pick up something. I don't, but I'm just getting the same impression over and over. All right, let's keep going.
See your face in the crowd, but you don't seem so far away. The only thing between us is empty space, empty space. Even when the music is loud, here with you. Rather be no other place than here with you now. Rather be no other place than here with you. I see your face in the crowd, but you don't seem so far away. The only thing between us is empty space, empty space. Even when the music is loud, I'd rather be no other place. Here with you now, here with you now. Here with you now.
This is actually an exception. This is where the track is actually starting to demonstrate some weaknesses. When you cross into electronic, I've noticed, where some of these synthetic sounds can be extremely harsh at times, especially in that upper end where the treble can hit. This is where if you don't handle the treble in a smooth way or mellowed out enough with some low end to help out or something, that something can suddenly, an IEM can suddenly sound very off-putting and difficult to listen to. And this is actually one of those circumstances where, depending on your mood and how much you're able to be treble tolerant, the OH10 or treble intolerant, the OH10 Obsidian actually gets demoted for me if you're not in that mindset for it, because it is a kind of harshness to it. It has a kind of thinned outness in the upper end that the other gear doesn't quite have as much. Particularly the OH2 seems to be a step in a good direction where it smoothens it out a bit. It makes it a little more listenable for those longer sessions. You know, I try this in my own ears, like I tell you guys I always do. Just before I even started the video, just to refresh my memory after listening to these all over the place anyway. You know, and I tried the OH2 Opal and on this track because I knew it would be harsh, and it was very easy to listen to for me. Hey, experiences vary, you know, ears vary and all that, but I had a very easy time. I quite enjoyed it. Would I say I enjoyed it more than the Obsidian on that track, or for electronic in general that's like that? I can't say that for sure. This is really a small sample size. This is one track, one master. You can't say the entire genre is going to play out that way. You know, people do that. They say, like, based on some tracks that they have in their library, that it's just not good for a genre. I don't want to go that far. But you might be able to infer a little bit from it. You might be able to say, if you have tracks that are equally exciting, especially in the upper end, that the OH2 might be a better, more easy to listen to pick. Or you might say, hey, I actually really liked how the Obsidian popped with that, albeit a little thinness, a little harshness at times. Maybe it was still nice for you. And maybe your speakers at home are playing the sub bass better than my MacBook Pro speakers, because these things, I am not hearing like any sub bass come out of my MacBook Pro right now, which is really unfortunate. The CRA, for example, does not sound like on my MacBook Pro like it has any bass. But in real life, it has tons of it, maybe too much. And the upper end is just kind of, it's not well polished enough. Again, I don't feel like I get the full sense of the notes. I don't feel like I get the full resolution of everything. It's just, it's fun, but it feels like a trick. It feels like you should spend more money kind of thing. But if you're only spending $20 or $30, it might be the best pick you can find, I guess. Okay, so let's exit the OH10 and OH2 for a second, the Opal and the Obsidian, and talk a little Starsea. That's the only other one that was demonstrated on that track just now. We're going to hit some electronic on the other gear. that I didn't have time for in that track play. But the Starsea, as soon as it came on, wasn't it kind of like muffled again? Like this is where it couldn't escape, like mud that it's been stuck in. The muffled mud of the impression, it was like this sticky mud. You can't escape it. Once you hear that muffled signature compared to this other stuff, you can't unhear it, right? That's true. I had to second guess myself. When I heard it in the demo, I had to like pop them in my ears to double check, and they sound the same. They sound just that much more muffled compared to the other stuff. It is what it is. All right, let's keep going. Enough about the OH2 and OH10. Let's dabble again in the Dauntless, the i3 Pro, and go back and forth with the OH2 and the Obsidian just to see if those still hold up against the others within the electronic genre. All right. So I think again we're hearing where the OH10 is excelling. You know, there's some cases where I think this is showing where in some cases in electronic the OH10 can be too overbearing, especially with tracks that are particularly sibilant or particularly hot in the treble region. But in this one, it pulled it off really well. It gave it just the right kind of, at least for this master, this track, the right kind of forwardness that gave the electronic excitement. And it also gave this sense of pop, of clarity, of, I don't want to use weird subjective words, but enthusiastic. No, that's silly. That's well, I feel enthusiastic when I hear it anyway. I don't know how an IEM sounds enthusiastic. Because it elicits that feeling, I suppose. But, you know, the OH2, again, had this nice balance where it was a very good deliverer of this music. It really, is worth the dollar, I think, the OH2, more and more as I listen to it. But when you listen to something like the Starsea, again, I couldn't play it for more than a few moments where I was just like, let's listen to something else here. It just didn't work for it. The Dauntless, it's like this one-trick pony of this. It sounds kind of a little thinned out. It doesn't sound like it has enough note weight. Something is missing. The i3 Pro is very warm, but like too much for me. It's too... I think I can see where people could enjoy that, but it's just not for me. Maybe people who are into warmer gear, that's just their fine wine. You know, maybe that's their favorite year, so to speak. It's just not for me. The CRA could come off as a good set here, but again, it's cartoonishly bassy in some instances, and I just can't. Maybe I'm just really biased against warm stuff, I guess. But I don't feel like I am. There's warm stuff that I enjoy. I mean, the Obsidian has a lot of, not warmth. I mean, when you think of the word warm, you think of something that has a little bit of like a softened effect from the bass. It's not like punchy. When somebody hears something punch very hard, they don't describe that as warm. Okay, I think warm basically equates to a bass presence that is lacking mids or upper end or something to punctuate through. Or conversely, it's just got so much sub bass in certain sets that creates this blanketed warmth effect. But in any case, I don't think I like warm. I think I like generally something that has bass for the sake of being punchy, which is what the Obsidian does. The Obsidian does not sound warm. Instead, it uses the bass region in different places to sound punchy, to sound like it has heft. Maybe that's what people mean when they say, is the bass, is the bass rich or is it bloomy? Is it articulate or is it fuzzy? I think that's what I'm getting at. And I don't think that's entirely driver technologies. I think that could be the tuning choices. Like, do you have too much sub bass? Do you have enough mid bass? I don't know. You heard what you heard. Let's keep going. Up next, we got Red Hot Chili Peppers. Let's see how some guitar plucking sounds. Let's see how some male vocals sound. And let's go into the track where it gets a little busy as well.
Sometimes I feel like I don't have a partner. Sometimes I feel like my only friend is the city I live in, the city of angel. Lonely as I am, together we cry. Drive on the streets 'cause she's my companion. I walk through the hills 'cause she knows who I am. She sees my good deeds and she kisses me when and I never worry. Now that is a lie. I don't ever want
The more you listen to it, the more I hope that you guys might hear what I'm hearing as well in my own ears. The Dauntless. Let's start with the top of my list here. CRA CC CCA CRA. Sorry. That one really showed, especially on my MacBook, which fails to produce that sub bass. It really showed how that upper end is just not accompanied by enough mid tones, enough note weights somewhere in the midsection. It just sounds very thinned out, and when it's isolated like that in the upper end because of my speakers. But in my real ears, like, I totally make sense why it sounds cheap and a bit grating to me at times, a bit of a novelty effect, because that is what you get. You get this very thinned everything, and then a lot of bass just to make it feel like it has weight. But you can't just have bass plus a thinned out instrumentation. You have to let the instruments actually sound like what they're supposed to sound like with a little bit more midsection. You know, I don't like the CRA. I'm sorry. The bass and the upper end gives it this funness kind of thing going on. But the more you listen to other stuff that has a better balance throughout the tuning, the more the CRA, at least in my personal opinion and tastes and my library and all that stuff, the more the CRA just comes off to me as a little gimmicky and a little cheap. It's fun for a second, for a hot second, and then it just wears thin, no pun intended. But then you get to the Starsea sounds muffled. The Dauntless sounds like it doesn't have enough note impact. The i3 Pro, quite warm. But I'd probably edge it out a little bit more over the Starsea, just because the Starsea has this muffled sounding effect that I can't escape. It just keeps hitting me. It just keeps hitting me. And, if I was in a different mood, if I didn't have these other sets that I was coming from when I went over to the Starsea, I could totally imagine somebody picking up the Starsea and just loving its sound. When you listen to things, and when you listen to gear in isolation for a long enough time, you get used to it, you get acclimated to how it's styling the music, and you could really enjoy it. Heck, I might enjoy it more if I just listen to it by itself over time. I think there's truth to that, adjusting to it. But in a strict, back and forth, trying to get your impression from things in this kind of way, I'm not feeling it. And then, the Obsidian OH2 just knocks out of the park for me here. It just sounds right. It just sounds like the drums are hitting with a pop. It sounds like the male vocals are clear enough. It might not give you the same sense of air around the male vocals as something else might, like the CRA might at times feign that kind of effect. But with the lack of the rest of the instruments, the drums and everything else in between, and just the tonality, the harmonics in between all these instruments, filling the space, like the Obsidian, I can't go for the other stuff. The Obsidian's just my top pick again. The OH2, again, doing pretty well. I like its balance, but let's keep going. Let's not drag this on. I think my opinion stands as it is. The next track is... this is just female vocals with, again, some acoustic plucking. Let's see how she sounds.
I hurt myself today to see if I still feel. I focus on the pain, the only thing that's real. The needle tells a hole, the old familiar sting, try to kill it all away. But I remember everything. What have I become? My sweetest friend. Everyone I know goes away in the end, and you could have it all. My empire of dirt, I will let you down. I will make you hurt. I wear this crown of thorns upon my liar's chair, full of broken thoughts I cannot repair. Beneath the stains of time, the feelings disappear. You are someone else. I am still right here. What have I become? My sweetest friend. Everyone I know goes away in the end, and you could have it all. My empire of dirt, I will let you down. I will make you hurt. If I could start again, a million miles away, I will keep myself. I would find a way.
All right, so this is where the CRA and the Dauntless, previously kind of knocked by me, might actually be more enjoyable than they have been previously, because that kind of novelty brightness that they pump up in the upper end actually seems to give the female vocals that kind of crystalline sound, that kind of extra space around her voice that I like to get from female vocal tracks. But, you know, to achieve that effect with such a kind of narrow vision of what should sound good, you know, I can't readily endorse something that I personally only enjoy on one specific style of music, like female acoustic singing tracks. You know, I would still prefer, even though it comes off, particularly in the demo, like they would win over the Obsidian. I'm fine with the Obsidian being a little more subdued in the female vocals, a little less perceived space around her, for the sake that it just sounds a little bit more authentic than the others on so many other things, and it sounds fairly authentic and good here as well. I don't have anything else to say on the Starsea and the i3 Pro at this time for female vocals. The Opal OH2 is a strong kind of like runner-up to the OH10 for me still. If the OH10 for some reason is just a little bit out of your budget, the OH2 Opal might be your best budget pick right now in this particular selection. Check my ranking list to see how I compare everything I've listened to in my overall enjoyment factor. You know, I can't possibly have a video that compares everything all the time. So don't take this video as... I'm stuck on something. Don't take this video as, you know, the ultimate recommendation of everything in my collection, you know, just because I presented a couple of my favorites here. There are other things I prefer over everything else here, you know, except for maybe the OH10. So just don't jump to the OH2 if you're considering it for that budget. Look at my ranking list, compare it to others, do some shopping, you know, window shopping. All right, let's go to the next track. Okay, this next one is probably, I've said this so many times in every video, but I'll say it to anybody who hasn't heard it before. This track is probably my one ultimate favorite for comparing the overall qualities or spirit of any IEM or headphone. It has very clean, clear sounding guitar plucks and strikes. It's got just glorious male vocals that just sing so well. Somebody commented that they thought it was a bad master, but I don't know. I feel like on the right gear, it sounds marvelous to me. And you know what? I'm not... Just a little blurb on that. Why is everybody so obsessed with the best masters ever? Like the best tracks to portray like audiophilic qualities? You know, you gotta put on the things that you love listening to. Those are your ultimate test, not a series of bleeps and bloops mastered at lossless quality in a studio never touched by a piece of dust on the microphone. You know, like, I mean, I don't even know what I'm saying, but you know what I'm saying. Just, you have to compare things on common tracks that you listen to that also have some level of fidelity that can portray enough the core differences between gear. That's my take. Anyway, let's listen to the track.
Changing, grow toward a better now. Escape is over for the ever now. Survive this will no one, will no one. The reason why may not be found. Searching my confusion. Tell me why I can't be found. Held to by illusion. Stay here, hoping you were never found. Changing.
this commentary is going to be so quick. I don't even know if I was willing to clip this microphone on to share it. Everything's the same. None of my commentary is different. Let's keep going. The next track is, I could comment on how the guitar sounded like it had more space to breathe on the OH10, that the drums popped, that the male vocals sounded well separated and forward. I could say all that, but it's like beating the point, okay, to the ground. Let's just go to the next series of tracks. This one is, I've been doing this in a lot of videos lately where I loop the same moment in a track because people wanted to hear like the same moment on each gear, so it was nothing changed. There was no other variables, So this is one of my favorite tracks of a demonstration of kind of negative space building into a positive space, where you have, in this particular master, where instruments are intentionally sounding muffled before the artist takes it to the actual quality of these instruments how they would sound in real life live, and it's just a wonderful contrast of that sensation you get from muffled to clear. And I just love to see which gear makes you feel the most out of to juice that moment out of the most contrast that it really offers in the master. All right, so let's see which one gives us those feels. All right, so this is one where you, depending on your playback device, you may actually get that the CRA, which one's the brand, which one's the product? I think CRA, well, whatever. I always confuse it because they sound so similar. The CRA could sound like it has the most pop, the most clarity, the most excitement, but in my own ears, it doesn't come off as well polished and full in the notes as the Obsidian still feels. The Obsidian to me is the clear winner in that particular loop amongst all of them. I really didn't like how the i3 Pro and the Starsea really, by trying to be this warm and relaxing set, which they can be, they are very easy to listen to, especially the i3 Pro with its exceeding warmth. And maybe that's why people like it. But it really does not, that kind of warmth really takes away from the sheer excitement and joy you can get from certain masters like this one. And it's just a shame that there are tracks out there that you will not feel that engagement unless you have certain gear. Which is, maybe that's weird to say, maybe only an audiophile would say something like that. You'd like to think that, especially like if you take classical music, for example, you could probably listen to great classical compositions on a potato and still find an emotionally engaging journey to be had in the composition, because those are stories. It's like if you hear a good story, like a read aloud or something, I don't know, of a good book, it doesn't really change how good of a story it is, whether somebody's talking clearly or if they're talking a little bit behind some things. It's the words you're listening for, not the tonality and all that. But we as audiophiles like exploring tracks that have those moments of tonal engagement, not just the storytelling of the composition. And in something like this, where the artist is intentionally trying to make the negative space a point for the listener to appreciate, then it is sadly true that you do need certain gear to notice it. Anyway, so that's all I have to say for today. Sorry if I don't answer a lot of comments in the comments section lately. I've just been so busy, and I just can't anymore as much as I used to. But I do read the comments. I do read each and every comment. I appreciate you commenting. Please keep doing that. Like, subscribe, Patreon support, all that. I'm going to leave you guys with a blind test now of all of these just on your screen. Check it out.
Don't go changing to try and please me. You never let me down before. Don't imagine you're too familiar, and I don't see you anymore. I would not leave you in times of trouble. We never could have come this far. I took the good times, I'll take the bad times. I take you just the way you are. Don't go trying some new fashion. Don't change the color of your hair. You always have my unspoken passion. Although I might not seem to care, I don't want clever conversation. Never want to work that hard. I just want someone that I can talk to. I want you just the way you are. Need to know that you will always be the same old someone that I knew. Oh, what will it take till you believe in me the way that I believe in you? I said I love you, that's forever. This I promise from the heart. I couldn't love you any better. I love you just the way you are. Just want someone that I can talk to. I want you just the way you are.